Hello and welcome to iMat. Today I'm going to be unboxing a little gadget I bought at a recent exhibition called a Micro Drone 3.0 Neo. I'm probably not the target audience for this type of product, but this struck me as being quite cool, so I picked one up. It's from a brand called Extreme Flyers. I've just managed to chop off their logo. There we go, so that's the Extreme Flyers logo there. Just as an aside, and it's not particularly relevant to the product, don't really like the logo very much. Doesn't really get me excited about the product. Not that it matters, it's just a logo. Now then, the way I came by this is I went to an exhibition recently, just a couple of weeks ago. So it's quite an interesting little show, and there was a guy demonstrating this. And I had no knowledge of this in the past, no history of it. I've seen little drones around. So I ordered one, put my money on the counter, placed the order, and then I went home and looked online, and I found, and this is just a preface to this video, it's not going to be a long rant about this, I found there was previously an Indiegogo crowdfunding project for a Micro Drone 4.0, and that hasn't yet come to market, although the Indiegogo project was around about 2019 as far as I can tell. This has led to some frustrated backers. Now frankly, I don't have a dog in the battle. I didn't back the Indiegogo campaign, I don't work for this company, but I felt it was just worth acknowledging that some people had backed an Indiegogo campaign, and some of those people, possibly a lot of those people, might be quite frustrated, and understandably so, as they haven't received their product. That being said, almost all companies at some point will have upset some, most or all of their customers, and I say that personally as a former customer of companies like RAC, Breakdown and Lloyds Bank. You can draw your own conclusions. Anyway, this isn't going to go into depth into that Indiegogo funding campaign. Before I start talking about my experience, I just wanted to acknowledge those people that had backed that campaign and let you know that they were being thought about, so to speak. However, my experience is I went to an exhibition, I saw a cool product, I ordered it, and a couple of weeks later, less than a couple of weeks later, it turned up in the post. So let's open this up. It's quite a nice box, quite nice packaging. Lots of conforming certification, everything from the Apple Store to the CA mark. Let's get the box open. Don't have any fingernails, so just going to ease this out. There we go. Try and do this as neatly as possible. So this is how it comes in the box. We've got bit of paper, looks like some basic instructions. Here's the drone itself, this is how it comes packaged. Well, let's lift that out. Wow, that's the thing, isn't it? That's huge. Oh my God, there's an accessory pack just tucked in the base of this box. Okay, so let's see what we've got. So obviously the more exciting part of this is the aircraft itself. So that's that. This is an accessory pack. It looks like there's spare propellers, a charging cable, some kind of pry bar, and a little screwdriver. I wonder if that screwdriver fits the battery compartment on the remote. That is a crosshead screwdriver. Battery cover does have a crosshead screw, which is super tight. Crikey. Pretty much all products these days, the battery covers will have a screw holding them shut. This is a health and safety thing to stop children accessing the batteries and sucking on them or whatever. So this requires 4 AA batteries. So I bought these batteries from Halfords, which is a sort of a car part or car maintenance type place. And I don't know if they're any good or not. They are alkaline. But you get at Christmas or just before Christmas, they were selling 30 for £5. And I thought, well, we should probably give those a go. There's a very clear indication of the battery orientation. Ooh, the beeping. Power. Okay, so there's a power switch in the middle there. Up for on, down for off. Just looking at the top here, there's a little toggle switch with insane, fast and slow marked on it. I think I'm going to put that on slow for the time being. Battery pack, I will put this little screw back in place. It's nice that they do include the screwdriver for this. A number of times I've bought a product and there's been a screw down battery cover and then you have to go and find a screwdriver from somewhere. There's a switch here that says invert, I don't know how well you can see that, and it's got two positions. It doesn't say which one is normal and which one is upside down. This controller though, it's a pretty nice looking thing. The LCD looks fairly basic, it's not, as far as I can tell, backlit. Now that's interesting. There's an illustration here showing the drone, and it shows it with what I presume are propeller guards in place. But there are no propeller guards actually included in this outfit. Don't know. Let's turn that off for the moment. So we've got our screwdriver, we've got what looks like a spare set of blades, charge cable, a pry bar, lovely, and our drone. So those all spin quite nicely. Now, as I understand it from what I read yesterday, the red blades are the back of the drone. So in flight, from the drone point of view, that would be forward, that would be right, and that would be left. But if you were to spin this around in flight so it was facing you, then this is my right hand, but that is right for the drone. So that's something that I'm going to have to get my head around. This shell comes off, but before we get into that, let's look at the accessories that came outside of the main box. Okay, so don't know how well you can read that. Micro drone 3.0 Neo, so this is, I don't know if the battery's custom to the drone, but the markings on it certainly are. 500 milliamp hours, 3.7 volts. We've got an anti-static bag, which is apparently a 1080 full HD camera. Oh, that's nice. In the actual, in the Walden, they've actually got the micro drone logo. Now you see this kind of digital lettering, that would have been a much nicer logo, some variation on that. I think that's a ribbon. So we've got about a 45, I don't know how well you can see that, about a 45 degree angle of tilt. So directly down, directly forwards, or somewhere in between. Two what appeared at the first glance to be press studs, I believe. These connect to this. So essentially this all stacks up. Beneath this plastic dome is the, I think, the power. So that clips on there, and then that clips on there. At the back here we've got a slot. Got a little slot at the back here for a micro SD card. It's held in with 4 little screws. This screwdriver does fit these screws. I'm going to have to fight the temptation to take this apart before I've even turned it on for the first time. It looks like probably a single board camera. It's got some kind of antenna, which I guess is for the Wi-Fi. This can be Wi-Fi connected to a phone, a mobile phone in its app. That's a camera. Oh, that's nice. The lens, as you would expect, is absolutely tiny. But looking at this, it does look like, not only does it appear to be a glass lens, it looks like it's a multi-coated lens as well. No lens cap, which is a bit of a shame. The finishing, you can see there's a little catch here. The finishing, they've obviously popped these off an injection moulded thing and broken them up and clamped them together. In fact, this whole seam looks a bit strange. Yeah, so that it looks like they've clamped this shell together. They've left a little nubbin of plastic on from the injection moulding machine. And I would have thought this seam would have been ultrasonically welded. But it looks like it's just been pressed together. So this, it looks to me like this plastic dome is quite, well, plasticky. This hasn't been ultrasonically welded. So they saved a few pennies here and there, but then they spent them in what looks like a better quality optic than I was expecting. And what appears to, well, it's quite obviously a custom injection moulding, and it appears to be a custom circuit board as well. So that's the camera, that's the battery. What else have we got? Don't know if you can read that. That's the smartphone holder. Is that meant to undo? Oh, that's a bit stiff. So yeah, I've got an articulated phone holder. It's nice that this profile is curved rather than just being flat. Sprung loaded. This presumably, yeah, sits in there. Obviously you would put your phone in this holder. So it all goes together nicely. And I think we've got one last thing in the set. So this looks like a Google goggles type of headset that you put your phone in. There's a bit of Velcro here, and there's a bit of Velcro here. So I'm guessing, okay, yeah, that cardboard tag goes in here. This folds up and clicks on there, and that must fold out. Okay, there we go. So now we've got a okay, so this is for flying a drone. Put your phone here, look through there, and you get the first person view, which will be quite fun. I probably won't use this, to be perfectly honest with you, but quite a fun little thing and quite a cheap way to do it. Let's take a closer look at this. And to do that I might actually change lens. Stand by. Okay, so I've put a different lens on here. Get a closer look at the drone. So there's my pointy screwdriver. Here we go. Looks like we've got a power switch here, a connector here. This is, I think, an optical flow sensor, and there's a USB connector here, so I guess you plug the cable in there to charge it. And let's try and take this dome off. The dome does come off because that's where the camera goes. Oh, that's the base plate. Okay, so this looks like there's already a battery installed. This end looks like the connector. So does this slide off? Is there a clip? Does it clip up that way? Oh, uh-oh. Got flashing LEDs. I've obviously hit the power button. Let's turn that off. Try not to do that again. How does that battery come off? Okay, wow. Look at those pins. They're pretty sturdy. It's interesting, you've got this cross member. This seems to be effectively the backbone of the device. Looks like there's been some sort of punch, so maybe it's mechanically fixed in place. The motors, for the rotor motors, got little retaining screws. And again, this supplied screwdriver fits that. So it looks like they've sort of standardised on one side screw, which is quite clever. And I'm guessing this framework also carries power cables to the motors. There's no loose wiring lying around, so that's quite nice. Ooh, Look at this. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 little connectors with cabling going off to the motors. Not at all sure what this connector's for. The battery terminals connect on the top of the board over here. So not sure what's going on there. It would obviously be foolish to fly this with this cover removed, just because of the risk to the circuit board. But this cover also has this little bit of felt, and I read in the instructions that this filters air used by a barometer for altitude sensing. So I'm not sure if this bit here is an air intake for a barometer or an aerial for communication. We've got an optical flow sensor here. You can just about see a tiny pinhole lens there. Amazing that they can put an optical flow sensor on a board this small. Well, that's interesting. Hang on. Okay, there's a couple of cute things. Well, one cute thing here. There's a little stick figure engraved on the circuit board just here. I don't know why there's a stick figure. It looks like a stick figure. Maybe it's some electrical diagram thing. But the other thing I noticed is just here, it says MD 5.0. So this is obviously Micro Drone 5.0. This must be the 5th generation of this micro drone circuit board. This is only the, so what we've got a, I guess there was a micro drone, a 2, a 3, a 3 plus, and now the nano, so that makes sense. This would in fact be the 5th generation of this product range. I'll throw a couple of still photographs of this so you can take a closer look at it. It may or may not be of interest to someone. So that goes on there. Battery pack goes on here. So it's the battery pack itself that has the USB connector on it. So this, I presume, is the same. This can be charged off the drone, either on or off the drone. It's interesting. I accidentally turned the drone on a moment ago, so clearly there's a little bit of charge in the battery as supplied. There we go. Question of PhD. Push harder, dummy. So there's our little drone. There's our little camera. This is one of the things that attracted me to it, the fact they use these magnetic connectors for the camera. It does allow at least the possibility of different cameras, and that might be better quality cameras or possibly lighter cameras to give you more flying time, or perhaps even, you know, thermal or infrared sensing cameras. So there aren't any of those things available currently, but you could imagine that being a thing in the future. So if I turn this on, so this is basically the end of the unboxing now. I think I've done a fair service of seeing what's in the box. If I turn that on, these LEDs are flashing quicker, I think. There's an LED on the controller flashing manically. There's LEDs down here flashing away. Oh, hello. All the LEDs have stopped flashing. These LEDs are now constant. This is constant. Again, the back of the drone, as I understand it, are the red rotors and the front is the black. We've also got blue LEDs at the rear and white at the front. So black and white is front, red and blue is rear. So this is going to be ill-advised, I think, but that's remarkably quiet, isn't it? Have I destroyed my drone? No, they're all working. Right, let's not do that again. In fact, if I turn the drone off, I'm going to have a read of the instructions or look online at the instructions, assuming I haven't destroyed it already. Charge the batteries up properly, but it seems to me that pushing this one up gets the rotors going and you can see it's working okay. Pushing it up again causes it to launch, and that's where things start to go wrong for me. This has been an unboxing video. I decided to put it on the I Bought a Thing channel. I do have another channel which is mostly vintage cameras, and as I'm kind of interested, it's not a vintage camera obviously, but I'm sort of interested in this video camera, so I'll probably do some video testing with this on that channel at some point. I've got to figure it out. For now, however, thank you for watching. I do appreciate it. Do have a good day.